been using the iPhone 16 Pro Max for 1 whole month, and these are my genuine thoughts and experience after using it day in and day out. Some features surprised me and some definitely disappointed me. Here is my long-term review of the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Let's go. You already know a lot about the iPhone 16 Pro phones. I thought so did I, but after using the phone for a month, a few things stood out for me. The phone I have here is the iPhone 16 Pro Max in desert titanium color. Honestly, it looks exactly like the iPhone 12 Pro Max in gold. This is a big disappointment for me. Even after upgrading year after year, a new $1,200 phone still feels exactly like a phone from 2020. The phone did get bigger though, 6.9 inches from 6.7 inches. I thought it won't make a huge difference, but it's definitely nicer to watch videos and use social media. I'm coming from a smaller 6.1 inch screen, so for me it's a big step up, and I'm glad the majority of the increased screen size came from shrinking the bezels and not making the phone too big. Don't mistake me, it's still a huge phone, but having the bigger screen with ultra thin bezels is nice to have. Okay, I'll get straight to the camera next because I have a lot to share in the camera department. I still feel that iPhones take the most consistent and most natural looking photos among all the flagships. Samsung is too punchy for me. Pixel has that pixel look. I tried to take multiple photos side by side on my iPhone 15 Pro and the 16 Pro Max, and I couldn't find a difference at all in the main camera. Apple calls it fusion camera this time, and I really don't know what that means. If you know, please let me know in the comments below. The ultra wide did get a good upgrade. It can now take 48 megapixel photos instead of 12 megapixel, and it shows in the photos easily. Macro photos have significantly more details. If you're someone who uses ultra wide a lot more, 16 Pro series will be a nice upgrade for you. But photo quality wise, that's about it. Not much has changed since the 15 Pro series in terms of photo quality. There are some notable changes to the way you take photos though. The shutter button is way faster on the 16 Pro Max than the 15 Pro. This means I'm capturing my moments way faster, which I would have missed on my 15 Pro. The difference is even more noticeable when you are taking 48 megapixel raw photos. If you have a kid who moves a lot or you take a lot of fast action photos, I think 16 Pro has made things easier for you. Okay, one upgrade which I hated the most with the iPhone 16 Pro Max over the 15 Pro, the 5x telephoto camera. I specifically got the 15 Pro and not the 15 Pro Max because the 15 Pro had a 3x telephoto while the Pro Max had the 5x telephoto. This year, both phones have 5x telephoto, so there is no choice left for me. I feel the 3x is much more practical zoom range than 5x. If I am indoors, 5x is usually too much and I really miss the 3x. I'll tell you one more major disadvantage of the 5x. The main camera is way better camera than the telephoto. So even in an average lighting condition, when you try to take a 5x photo, instead of using the 5x lens, it simply uses the main lens and crops it 5 times. You can actually see this by yourself. I'm outdoors with good light. I'm in 5x mode. If I close the 5x lens with my fingers, the image disappears. Now I'm indoor at night, but still well lit with lights. If I use 5x and close the 5x lens, iPhone is still capturing the photos. This is because it's using the main lens and cropping it 5 times. This was still the case with the 3x lens on the iPhone 15 Pro as well. But now, since it's cropping the main image 5 times as opposed to 3 times before, my telephoto shots are way worse than before in average lighting. This is kind of a downgrade for me. I'm using the telephoto lens way less than before. The quality of photos from the telephoto camera also aren't that good unless the lighting is perfect. Another change to the 16 Pro series is the 4K 120 mode. This means the phone can now capture 4 or 5 times slow-mo videos in 4K mode. This was just 1080p quality before. This is nice to have, but I was actually happy with the 1080p 120 before. 4K 120 takes up a lot of space too. Check this out. This 10 seconds 4K 120 clip took up 135 MB, while 1080p 120 took only 35 MB. Close to 4 times more space. Especially with iPhone Pros still starting with only 128 gigs of base storage in 2024, I need to save up as much storage as I can. One change which I do love so much is the upgrade to the mic quality. 16 Pro series has 4 studio quality mics, which not just makes my call quality way better than before, but also the audio in my video is also way better by default. Check this out. Hi, I'm talking through a busy street sound. The audio is bad, but there are multiple audio modes on the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and now you can see the audio is much better and it's enhanced. 16 Pro has this option to change the audio mode later in editing. Same scene with me talking is much more cinematic and studio quality, right? And the fact that I can do this later makes capturing videos much more simple, and I can enhance my audio later. Oh, how can I miss the new photographic styles? Well, this is a hit or miss. I like the concept, but it's still not very intuitive. You see, previously photographic styles were more like filters, but now it's more nuanced than that. It knows your face, skin tones, and can apply photographic styles specifically to the undertones or otherwise. You also have more controls than before. The problem, this way, more control means you need to fine-tune each photo yourself to get the best look. Overall, I like it much more than the old photographic styles, especially because the old photographic styles was destructive, meaning you can't change it once the photo was taken. Since here I took a photo with a bad style, I cannot change the look later in editing. But with the new photographic styles, you can go back and change the styles later too without damaging the original. This is a big plus. There is one major downgrade. Filters in the photo editing are gone in favor of photographic styles. I know this will be disappointing for a lot of people. Okay, a lot of thoughts on the camera department, right? That's because usually camera upgrades are the main focus with iPhones these days. And fortunately or unfortunately, we are not done with the cameras yet. There is one big spotlight in the iPhone 16 series this year, and that is the new camera control button. All phones this year have this button, and for me, it's a straight up disappointment. Sony Xperia phones have had this button for years now. After a month of use, I can declare that it's useless, at least in its current state. This is a captive touch-sensitive button on the side of the phone. I have heard a lot of YouTubers bashing it for the button placement, saying it's inconvenient for both portrait and landscape mode. But for me, this is not a big of a problem, to be honest. You can see here, it works out well for me in portrait mode. In landscape mode, if you try to hold like this, it is a bit of a stretch and inconvenient, but I naturally take photos with one hand, which means if I try to hold it like this, it's very unstable. Holding like this is way more convenient, and the camera button is a nice place for me to take photos with one hand. Keep in mind, it varies a lot depending on how big your hands are and if you have the Pro or the Pro Max model. But personally, the button placement wasn't a deal breaker for me. But the rest of the functionality is. As of today, the camera control buttons are supposed to do 3 things. 1. Open the camera app. 2. Take a photo or video. 3. Change camera settings. I have a problem with all the 3. First, opening the camera app. Yeah, it's useful to have a dedicated button in the pinch, but the action button was just fine for me. Or I can just slide to open the camera app from the lock screen. Or I can just long press the camera shortcut. Or even map a double or triple tap to open the camera. But hey, another button doesn't hurt, so I'll give it a pass. Second, to take a photo or video. When I try to take a photo with this button, there is an evident shake to my camera. If the light is slow, it introduces camera shake in photos, making it less sharp. Even in good lighting conditions, the shake changes the framing. Especially if I'm taking photos with one hand, the shake is even more evident. It's way more easy and precise to tap the shutter button on the screen. Third, it can now change camera settings like zoom, photographic styles, camera modes, etc. It works, but honestly, it's faster to do these actions on the screen. It's fiddly, not precise with the scroll, and I stopped using it after a day of trying. It's buggy too as of now. It may get better in future with 2 things. 1. Visual intelligence coming soon, and second, half press functions like focus look. But as of today, I use it only to open the camera app. It frees my action button for something else. I would have liked Apple to give us larger base storage of 256 or 512 GB instead of this camera button, which I won't be using it anyway, because video recording on iPhones is world class, and unfortunately it fills up my storage very fast. Okay, I want to very quickly talk about the Apple Intelligence because it's not an iPhone 16 exclusive and you can also get those features on your 15 Pro as well. I'm on public beta and still it's not fully available. I tried summarizing notifications and emails. It's okay. Type to Siri is nice, so I don't have to use voice all the time. The animations are beautiful. I don't use the rewrite text much in notes or emails. I tried the cleanup in photos, which I thought would be the most used feature for me with Apple Intelligence. And it's bad, really bad. Over 90% of the cleanup photos are not usable now. Samsung, Google, or even third-party apps can do a much better job than Apple as of now. Hope it gets better with the software updates in future. Visual search, image playground, Genmoji, and ChatGPT integration are not yet available for public as of recording this video. I find only the photo cleanup and the ChatGPT integration to be useful for me. Apple Intelligence is meh and still has a long way to catch up with the Samsung and Google. Oh, battery. Another surprise and happy upgrade. If you have seen my iPhone 15 Pro problems videos, battery life on the 15 Pro is bad, really bad. I got the Pro Max especially because I can make it through a whole day without multiple charging sessions, and it was completely worth it. The 16 Pro Max already came with a better battery life than the 15 Pro. And with me coming from a smaller Pro phone, the difference is day and night. In 1 month, even with extensive use, I could not exhaust my battery at the end of the day. I always had 40 to 25% battery remaining at night. This is my most loved feature of my upgrade, to be honest. The charging experience is also slightly better. It has a 30-watt fast charging, which is not great compared to the competition, but still a welcome change. I know there is some confusion regarding the 45-watt or 30-watt charging, so let me clarify that. If you're using intensive apps while charging, the newer phones can draw power up to 45 watt but still charge your phone at 30 watt. That has been my experience with the new iPhone 16 Pro Max over the past month. I didn't talk much about the performance because there's virtually no difference in real life compared to previous models. No heating issues, no performance drops, just buttery smooth, which is nothing unexpected. The audio mix features, better battery life, new photographic styles, and faster photo captures are all noticeable welcome upgrades for me. While 5x telephoto, Apple Intelligence, camera control button, 4K 120 and same 4-year-old design are all big letdowns for me. Should you upgrade? Absolutely not if you're using iPhone 15 Pro, 15 or even 14 Pro. But if you're coming from the iPhone 14 or 13 Pro, except for the design, you will see a refined upgrade to cameras, action button, display, etc. Okay, that's everything for this video. Do let me know what you think in the comments below. Also, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you all in the next one. This is Anjana. Bye-bye.